Hi there everyone, hope you're all well and hope all guitar practice is going well. Welcome to week 28 of the Guitar Quest lessons. Obviously we've been working through Guitar Quest 1 and Guitar Quest 2, and so today we will just be continuing on with much the same kind of stuff as what we were doing last week, obviously just progressing things along a little bit. So, usual kind of thing when we start these sessions, if you've got any notification type devices, you know, social media or whatever, then please do turn those off so that we get our undivided half an hour of guitar playing. If there's any children watching, then having an adult in the room to help kind of guide you through bits and pieces and explain things may also be helpful. We've got the chat function, so please do add any comments you've got or questions in that, and I'll do my best to answer. If you're watching this back later, i.e. not on the live stream, you can put comments underneath the video as well, and I will endeavour to get back to you. So, hope that all makes sense, and let's crack on. So we're just going to check the tuning to begin with. I'm just going to move myself so you can see my guitar a bit better. So yeah, this is our bottom E string, so again, as normal, just adjust it until it sounds the same. So our bottom E. Okay, and then we're going to go on to A. And then we've got our D. G, and then B, and then finally our top E string. Good stuff. Okay, so hopefully you're all more or less in tune. And while I think of it, in the email I sent out this morning with the link to this live stream lesson, I mentioned about someone who's following the course who actually recorded herself playing one of the exercises, or a few of the exercises in fact. So should any of you be watching and you're thinking, yeah, I can play along and it's feeling good and that, then please do feel free to record them and share them. Just tag my name in there somewhere. So it'll be David Herries, you know, on Instagram or YouTube if you've got a YouTube channel or YouTube account you can upload to. Yeah, and then I can add them to playlists if you're happy to, and it just, you know, creates that community feel, which I think is really nice if we can generate that. So, okay, without further ado, let's crack on. So. Yeah, so we are going to start off with the 9-note recap on page 15. Yeah, this is just recapping all the notes we've learned so far. So it's written in 3/4, so 3 notes per bar. So we'll just give it a go. So after 3, so 1, 2, 3, we start on our E. Up to G, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, actually, I was saying those notes, my timing drifted a little bit, so let's try that again. So after 3, I won't say anything this time. So 1, 2, 3. And that's it. So it's just kind of refreshing our sort of memories of where those notes are, and hopefully then as we progress that's going to make a bit more sense in places. So the other one I suggested last week to do as a bit of a warm-up this time is number 18, so that's Flickering Light, that's on page 14. So you should be on that page already, but if you're not, I'll give you a second to turn to that page, and then we're going to start off. So remember, we've got our 2 lines of music. We've got the stems pointing down, which we can use our thumb on our plucking hand, so right hand for the majority of people probably. and then we use our fingers to play the other strings. So remember in the text of the exercise there, so above the first two notes we've got the letter P, so that's telling us to use our thumb. So remembering that P comes from the Spanish word pulgar, which is Spanish for thumb. So a lot of terminology that is specific to guitar, rather than music more generally, has its origins in Spanish, because Spain sort of introduced Europe to the guitar, so a lot of the terminology kind of comes from that way, and it's stuck over the years. So yeah, so we've got P for thumb, I for index, M for middle. Technically they refer to the Spanish words, but they happen to line up with index and middle, so that's all quite helpful. So anyway, let's give it a go. So we're going to play lines 1 and 2 twice because we've got the repeat mark, and then we're on to the third line. So here we go, after 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Last line. Okay, and that's where we are finishing. So, well done if that went well. Hopefully it did. You've played that for a few weeks now, so fingers crossed it's all making sense for you guys. Obviously, if you've got any questions, do please fire away. But otherwise, we're going to push on. So we're going to look at and just go back over the exercises we talked about last week. So the first of which is number 20, the Matador. So this one has our new note F, which is the 6th string at the 1st fret. So for example, just to refresh how you read that musically, if you look at the bottom of page 14, we've got the bit text down there about how you play F and what it looks like. So it's got the 3 extra ledger lines and then the note that goes through it. So probably easier if I show that on the screen. So if you bear with me a second. So this is our note F, so the 3 extra ledger lines and a note that goes through it, and the little one there telling us to use our first finger. And so in the Matador, that crops up quite a few times. We've got a few Fs. We've also got the G, 6th string, 3rd fret. So I went over that in a reasonable amount of detail last week, so hopefully that's okay. We're just going to sort of crack on with it really. So I also mentioned last week, I think, with regards to the backing track, if you found any of the clapping or the palmas, which is sort of the clapping that goes on in flamenco tunes, if you found any of that off-putting, because the rhythms are a little bit unusual for our general westernised ears, if you like, so do let me know and I can take that off the backing track so you've got the option of both. So, but anyway, let's give it a go. So starting on our bottom E string, after 3, okay, so 1, 2, 3. Back to the beginning. Two, 3 in the second line. Back to the beginning of that line. Okay, cool. Uh, hmm, I I would have to listen back to that. I have a sneaky feeling I might have cut the dotted minim short when I was saying back to the beginning of the line on the last line. So apologies if I did do that, and I will, well, you can listen to the back track and it will obviously have the right timing. Maybe I just need to stop talking throughout them. You know, as the pieces get a little bit more busy, it's easier for me to lose myself as well. So anyway, hopefully that all made sense. Hopefully it all went well. Give yourself the usual pat on the back. Acknowledge everything that's gone really well for you so far. And we'll move on. So let's turn the page. And we'll go on to, obviously, page 16. And we have our D minor chord. So, we've learned a few chords so far. So we've had E minor, E major, A minor, A major, and we've also had D major. And now we're doing D minor. So to play D minor, we're going to put our first finger on the first string, first fret, which is the F. Then our middle finger goes third string, second fret, which is the note A. And then our third finger goes second string, third fret, which is the note D. And then we're going to strum from the fourth string, so we're going to try and avoid these two lower strings, string 6 and 5. So we go from the fourth one, and hopefully you'll hear all those notes nice and clear. And when you strum a bit quicker, obviously that should all be fine. Any notes that you might find tricky, perhaps this third finger here might, if it's a little bit not up on the fingertip as much as it should be, if it's angling down a little bit too much, you might get that muted sound on the first string. So just try and get those fingers up on the fingertip a little bit more. Hopefully that's sort of clear from here. So that's sort of being a bit sort of slack with it, and then that's kind of getting up on the fingertips a bit more. Your thumb could move as well. You know, don't feel like your thumb needs to be rooted to the same position as you play. That can move around as it needs to in order to get the right sound out. The other thing that could happen as well, that's worth mentioning, is so when we push our fingers down, we want them to be sort of close to the right hand side of the fret, ideally. That can be tricky when we're playing chords. Hopefully it's not too bad with D minor. But if you found, for example, your first finger, or maybe some of them were also creeping a bit towards the left hand side of the fret, you might start getting sort of squeaky kind of sound, you know, stuff like that. So just check your finger position and move it up. It might be like you only, you know, you move it a millimetre or two or something like that, and it makes all the difference. So it is quite sort of fine margins that we're working with, really. So, but yeah, anyway, that's the D minor chord. So we're going to get on to exercise 22 shortly, which is going to use that D minor chord. So hopefully you had a chance to have a go at that one during the week. So hopefully when we get to 22, it will be sort of more or less okay, even if the change is a little bit scruffy in places. So, but let's move on to number 21 then. So Spanish dual. So again, we did this one last week. Felt a little bit rushed at the end. I just wanted to kind of give you something new to get stuck into. And so I just want to go back over this in a little bit more detail today. So I'm just going to bring the music up onto the screen so you can see it. So we have this idea of ties. So ties in music is a curved line that joins two notes of the same pitch together. So when you see the tie, the note length becomes the sum of the two notes tied together. So in this bar down here, we have a crotchet worth 1 beat. It's tied to another, well, sorry, I should say that's an A. It's tied to another A. And the second A that it's tied to is a quaver, so that's half a beat. So we add those two together, 1 plus a half, so 1.5. So that first note now lasts for 1.5 beats, and then we have this extra quaver here just to kind of finish it, to finish the second beat off. So if we were counting, for example, that would be the 1 and 2, and then that's the and then we're back on crotchets, 3, 4. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I did talk about this a bit last week, but I appreciate, as I mentioned, that it was perhaps a little bit rushed in places. So, yeah, if I just demonstrate, so if I tap my foot, this is our beat going. So So the first, third and fourth beats are going to be in time with my foot tap, and then the second A that we're going to play is going to be in between the second and the third one. So after 4, I'll play the first couple of bars, 3, 4. So you've got A, 2. Hold it a bit. So yeah, so we're going A, 2, and. So A, 2, and 3, 4. So it's just trying to hold it that fraction longer, just so that it so that we get the right timing, basically. So I'll play the rest of the exercise. If you want to join in, you're very welcome to. I will try and count some of the timing out as we go as well. Hopefully I won't lose my way at all this time. So here we go. So after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and A, 2. So 1, 2, and 3, 4. 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 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3. And back to beginning. Sorry. Rest. Okay, cool. So yes, apologies. In one of the bars there on the repeat, I played the wrong note. I did correct myself. Said sorry at the time. So anyway, hopefully that didn't put you off too much, and hopefully that all kind of made sense. As with all these exercises, we've got the backing tracks online. So if you go onto my YouTube channel and then look for the playlists, and there'll be Guitar Quest 2 backing tracks. So do check those out and play along with them. Particularly if you choose to video yourself playing, then having the backing track going as well gives everything a bit of context. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to share that around, then that's great, and we can help build this community. So, right, we are going to move on. So, moving to page 17, and basically some chord strumming that's coming up. So, with chord strumming, it can be written in terms of standard notation. You know, we've had that in the books already. It can also be written in terms of slash notation, which some of you may have heard of, may not. Basically, if you look at exercise 22, you'll see rather than seeing a whole bunch of notes, it's just sort of lines and slashes, effectively. So that's really what it is. So again, if I just bring the music up onto the screen. So the slashes just basically correspond with crotchets and quavers and minims and that kind of thing. So this one here is the equivalent of a crotchet. It's got a single line coming off it and just the sort of one slash there. These two would be quavers because they're joined together or beamed together. And that's pretty much it. You can have other symbols for minims and semi-breves and that kind of thing. They're not always really clear, in my opinion. I have got some written down somewhere else. I can't remember if it's this book or the third book off the top of my head. So we will come to that. But for now, we're just doing crotchets and quavers. So if I just bring that back to normal. So yeah, on page 17 there, I've put some empty chord boxes in for you to jot the E major and A minor chords down if you'd like to. This just reminders really. You know, if you're really comfortable with your E and A minor chords, then you probably won't need to. But if you're a bit unsure, then it might help remind you. Obviously, we've got D minor on page 16, so you've got all three chords sort of within your visual range there. Okay, so this is how it's. I'll just play it to you to demonstrate, and then we'll try it together and see how we get on. So we're going to start with our A minor chord. So remembering A minor, second string, first fret with our first finger, third string, second fret with our third finger, and fourth string, second fret with our middle finger, and then we strum from the fifth string. D minor we've talked about already today. E major, when we get to it, it's this shape, but just moved across a string, down a string. So our first finger ends up on the third string this time, first fret, third finger, fourth string, second, and middle finger, fifth string, second. Then we strum all the strings. So, here we go. I'll play it to you, just have a listen, see what you think. The rhythm is pretty much the same throughout, apart from the final bar where I'm just going to do 3 strums on A. I won't do the repeat this time, but we'll join in together and see how we go in a minute anyway. So, here's the demonstration. So after 4, so 3, 4. So we go down, 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 up, rest. Down, 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 up, rest. Back to A minor. Then your E. Rest, A minor again. Rest, D minor. Rest, E. Rest, and then A minor again. Rest. Okay, so that's it. In theory, we should go back to the beginning and play it again. So we play it twice around, and then obviously that will tie up with number 21. So if you know anyone that is comfortable strumming chords, or anyone else who's doing this course, in fact, then you can play 21 and 22 at the same time. And if you're both in time, it should all fit together pretty seamlessly. I should also mention the down and the up cymbals. So again, I'll just bring the music up onto the screen so there's no ambiguity. This is our down strum cymbal here, and this is the up strum. So up here, we're going to go down, 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 up. Then we've got our rest cymbal, so nothing going on there. Same again, down, 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 up, rest. Then on the rest of them, because it's the same pattern, what you'll find typically is whoever's put the music together, so me in this case, you wouldn't bother continuing to write the strumming pattern in every time. You'd work on the assumption that once you've shown people once or twice, they should hopefully be able to sort of figure it out from there after that. And then you might find if there's any bars where they, whoever's written the song or whoever's transcribed it, would be the word you might use. If there's something in particular, like, okay, you need to be careful and do an up strum here in particular or whatever, then they might clarify that with those kind of symbols. So anyway, let's give it a go. So after 4, we're going to play it together, just do as best you can. We'll do the repeat as well, and then we'll move on. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. A minor. Rest, the D minor, rest, A minor again, rest, over to the E, rest, back to A minor, rest, D minor, rest, and back to E, rest, and then A minor again. Stay on the A minor as we go back to the beginning. D minor. Back to A minor. Then E. Back to A minor. To D minor. To E. And then 3 strums on the A. Rest. Okay, cool. So, as I mentioned previously, chords can be a little bit more difficult when you first start playing them because you've got to move several things around. Whereas when we're playing the tunes, obviously, typically we're just doing one finger at a time at the moment. So, it can seem quite challenging. Don't let that put you off though, because these chords are chords you'll use for life. So, just try and stick with it. If you found that strumming too much, you could always just drop back to doing a single strum for each one. So kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. You may find yours sounds a bit like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and you change. But you've got those 3 beats there if you need to take them to try and alter those things around and move them to arrive at the next chord. So the most important thing is that you end up playing in time, really, and hopefully, obviously, with the right chord. So just do what you need to do to enable yourself to get there. So, right, let's move on. So if we turn the page, so to page 18, we have our E minor pentatonic scale. So the minor pentatonic scale is incredibly well used in sort of rock and pop type stuff, particularly earlier kind of your sort of 60s rock stuff, or sort of rock and roll kind of thing. So this is definitely, if you like that style of music, this is definitely a scale to get used to, and is sort of inevitably one that you will be using again in the future. As we progress, there's different ways we can think about scales, and more sort of graphical, if you like, so you sort of picture a shape and you play through the shape. But for now, because we're learning the notes, we're just going to read the notes and go through it. So I'll demonstrate. So we're going from our bottom E string to our top E string. So that's going to take us through 2 octaves worth of notes. Pentatonic, as the name suggests, means there's only going to be 5 notes in the scale. So so I'll just play it. We'll see how we go. In terms of fingers on the right hand, we're going to go with the index and middle fingers. You can start, I've suggested middle finger, but you can start with the index. It doesn't really matter, particularly just try and alternate them as you go. So here we go, after 4. So 3, 4. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So I say that, perhaps that was a little flippant, I didn't mean that. It's when you know it, it's such a common scale, you'll be able to play it blindfolded and in your sleep and that kind of thing. So but yeah, initially it takes a little bit of getting used to. There are no notes in there that you haven't played before, so hopefully you can make sense of that, and it'll all be fine. Again, I've got the backing track online. I won't play it today because scales aren't the most interesting things to listen to. We just played it there, so just try and play along with the backing track and try and get used to that scale, really. As I mentioned, in the blue box underneath there's some pretty famous songs that have used just those notes, really. So we've got Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin, Paranoid by Black Sabbath, Play That Funky Music by Wild Cherry, and Are You Gonna Go My Way by Lenny Kravitz. You probably know others that do. So if you happen to go, oh, someone told me this song, or perhaps you know already, like this song is just using the minor pentatonic scale, and please do share away. It's always interesting to see more tunes and things that are using specifically what we're talking about. So, okay. We are pretty much out of time, actually. That's gone quite quick today, so I hadn't realised we were up to that point already. But yeah, we will leave it there for today. So a reminder then of what to practice this week. That's going to be, we'll probably, in terms of warm-up, we'll continue with our 9-note recap, the bass recap, which was a couple of pages previous. That's good just to keep us on top of those lower notes and the newer notes. And then we'll do exercise 20 as well. That's a good one, just to kind of keep reaffirming that. And then we had the new stuff that we were doing today. So exercise 22 predominantly and exercise 23. Because 21 and 22 are an accompaniment, we may well go over both of those next week. So it might be worth just sort of keeping your hand in with number 21 as well. And then next week we have obviously exercise 24 we'll get stuck into, and then hopefully we'll get on to sharps, which are if you picture a piano, you've got the white notes and the black notes, and the sharps are, depending on how you look at them, the black notes. So that's going to help fill in a few gaps on our fretboard as well. So yeah, we'll dive into that next week. We'll leave it there for today. So if you enjoyed the video and the live stream, then please do give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought, share any comments you've got or any questions, that kind of thing. I'll see you same sort of time next week. So it'll be the 10th of October at 6:15 UK time, which I believe is 10:15 Pacific time. So all the best for the practice. Remember, just a quick reminder, practice ideally every day, but if not, 4 or 5 times a week would be perfect. And try and use all the backing tracks on my playlist as well, and that will help you, keep time and all that kind of thing. So yeah, very best of luck with everything, and I look forward to seeing you all sometime next week. All right, take care then. Bye bye.